lovelies, it's Sarcasm the Sickness, and welcome back to Skill Link. In today's episode, you will see me drawing the mascot designs and... Actually, I don't think I draw the banner in this one, but at the end you'll see what the banner looks like. But the mascot designs for Scott, and his channel is Young Dicky. He has not started his channel yet. Not sure when he plans on doing that. Hey, if you watch this, let me know in the comment section when you think you're gonna get started. This was a very fun project to work on. Both of his links will be in the description below, both Twitter and YouTube, so go check them out. And I do want to mention that I actually am recording this part, like this intro part, after the after the main chunk of the thing, which I explain in that next part. But like my computer, like the program crashed like 3 times or 4 times or whatever. I've been trying to record it for like ever. So I was like, whatever, I'll just try to do this. But I didn't do the intro on that recording, so whatever, here we are. Anyway, please enjoy this episode. It is a bit of a long one, so brace yourselves if you do dare tread forward. Bye. Alright, let's just dive right into today's topic. This is like the 6th time that I'm recording this. Things keep interrupting me, my computer keeps crashing, it's just a bunch of crap today. And I just want to finish this recording and get this video out to you guys today. This is not cool, this is not cool, this is not cool. So, today's topic, I discussed a little bit, on stream yesterday. The first stream that I did on Twitch, so if you guys weren't there, don't feel bad. Ow. Sorry, I hit my hand on the table here. Yeah, if you guys missed it, don't feel bad. It was not really well announced. I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it. And I am gonna try to stream more often, I suppose, but it really depends on internet situation, you know, who's home, what noise is being made, whatever. So, yeah, I will try, but who knows, we'll see what happens, but don't feel bad if you missed it. Thank you to those who were there, though, of course. But, yeah, today's subject I discussed a little bit yesterday, but, this is a topic that was brought up by one of you lovelies. I had a skilling video where the question of the day was, you know, like, what would you guys like me to talk about? And a lot of you guys gave me some lovely suggestions, and this is just one of them. I have all the suggestions written down, and before we get into today's topic, I do want to say, if you have, you know, ideas for things that you want to hear me talk about, if you're sitting around, you're thinking about something, you're just like, you know, I'd really like to hear her talk about this in the channel, please feel free to go into the comment section of any skill link video, drop that in there, and say, hey, Tara, put this on your list, and I will do that, okay? I do like to keep discussion open, and you guys know that I am pretty open with you guys about a lot of things, and you'll definitely see that with today's subject, but yeah, I am pretty open about things, so there's not really a lot that you can say that will scare me off. There's only one subject that I can think of that I would not talk about on the channel at this point, but it's a personal matter. You guys wouldn't even know how to ask that question anyway, so there's no worry there. But yeah, even if you think like, oh, I don't know if she'll want to talk about this, please just put it in the chat, or put it in the comment section. Or if it's one of those subjects that you know, like you're nervous about putting it in the comment section because, oh, it's public, they're going to see my name attached to it, I then encourage you to go into the description of any or any video on my channel, really. You will find the link to my ask.fm. You do not need an account on ask.fm to ask me a question. You can ask it anonymously, and your name will not be attached to anything. I won't know who you are, they won't know who you are. It'll be perfectly fine, it's perfectly safe and anonymous. And I will, just put the subject in the question thing, and just say, please put this on your list, and I will do so. And then you don't have to be like nervous about like, oh, well, what if somebody sees me, you know, asking about this? It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly safe. And even those who do put questions right into the comment section, unless you really want me to, I'm probably not going to say your name anyway, and just say like this was suggested by a viewer or via Lovely. For example, today's subject, our asker, I suppose, was a little nervous about it. They weren't sure, you know, like, oh, I don't know if this seems inappropriate. I don't mean for it to be inappropriate, but I am curious, and I think it's an important thing to discuss about, or to talk about. Wow, I'm sorry. Like I said, this is the 6th recording, so words aren't exactly they're not exactly my strong suit right now, and I know this is going to be a longer video just because of the subject, so buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. But today's subject is the first time I had sex. And so with that being said, if that is a subject that you do not want to listen to, please do not feel obligated to listen. You can either, mute the video and just watch the art if you want to, or you can completely just click away. You can pause the video and say, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't watch this one, I didn't like the subject matter. That's perfectly fine, I am not going to be offended. It's the internet, you can view whatever you want to, and choose not to view or listen to whatever you want to, so please don't feel obligated, please don't feel bad, please don't feel like I'm going to be upset with you. I'm not, trust me. So you can just scootaloo along, and for those of you who do stay, thank you, of course, but for those of you who don't, it's like I said, it's perfectly fine. I'm not upset. This subject really isn't for everyone, and if it's against like your religious beliefs or personal beliefs or whatever, just or it just makes you uncomfortable in general, that's perfectly fine. I get it, trust me. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next skill link, hopefully. But for those of you who are staying, I do think it is an important subject to talk about, because I know a lot of you guys are younger viewers. A lot of you lovelies are rather young, like between like 12 and 17 or so. And even if you have not personally engaged in sexual activity, it is happening around you right now. It is. Unfortunately, like, even if it's something that makes you kind of scared and uncomfortable, I'm sure you're hearing it in the hallways. I did. I'm sure you're hearing your friends discuss it, or, like, other people around you in the classroom, whatever. It is just that age where, kids and young adults start experimenting, I suppose. Start, discovering things about themselves and about each other that they didn't know before, or whatever. So it is something that I feel is important to discuss, because it is something that is, like, you have to kind of come to face with at one point or another. Even if you never, ever, ever have sex in your life, it's still something you're going to be hearing about a lot. It is a very big part of human society, of human living, even if you, in particular, as a human, never engage in it, or never have engaged in it, whatever. So I think it is important to leave this conversation open, because when I was in 7th grade, like, I heard about people, I heard about what sex was essentially. Like, I heard about the concept, I guess. Someone described what a penis looked like to me, or something like that, or what it's supposed to do. I didn't quite understand how, like, I thought it was like a round hole, round peg sort of thing. You just kind of fit it in there, and I didn't know what step 2 was, honestly. I was just like, well, why would you want that? That doesn't sound interesting. What do you do with that? But, so, first, of course, I'm not going to get into, like, the mechanics of sex. It's not a thing. I mean, that's not something that's not the subject. That is not the subject. But, for when I was young, like, I didn't know what to think about it all. It took me a long time to understand what it even was in the first place. And I don't know, and even longer to get to a point where I thought I was okay with it happening to me. So, I don't know, it's just, I guess it would have been different if I had someone to, like, critically talk about it with me. Because, when you're surrounded by all your friends talking about it, or like, oh, it was so great last night, I smashed this chick. It's like, that is not the way that you want to be introduced to it. Porn is not the way you want to be introduced to it. It's just like, see this discussion as, like, big sister to little sister or little brother kind of thing. Like, this is big sister Tara saying, hey, you don't have to be completely terrified of it, unless you are. I mean, this is just something you never want to experience in your life, which is fine, but like, this is not going to be like, like an X-rated freaking, video here. I'm not going to go into, like, actual, like, visual and, like, whatever detail. This is more like, look, this is my first experience. This is what I think a first experience should be like, and this is, generally what to expect, I suppose, under normal circumstances, I guess. Because I'm gonna have to say my first experience was probably rather normal. And of course, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong in the comment section later, but I guess, whatever. I've wasted too much time. We're already, like, almost 10 minutes in here, and we haven't even gotten to the meat of the subject yet. And we're still not, because the first thing I want to talk about is the first boyfriend that I had, which, the first time I actually really dated somebody was in 8th grade. He was in 6th grade, I was in 8th grade, so obviously it wasn't exactly super serious or anything. And I'm glad it wasn't, because he wasn't a very good boyfriend to begin with, and of course, you know, like, at that age, like, you don't want... You really don't want something to be serious at that age. Even if you stay with that person for the rest of your life, at that age, please don't make it serious. God, please. This boyfriend was... I don't know, he kind of messed up a bunch of firsts for me, to be honest. He was very pushy, and honestly, the only reason I really dated him is because everybody, like, my friends around me were dating people, and, you know, I was kind of left in the dust, like, well, why not me? Why does nobody think I'm attractive? Why does nobody want to, you know, like, spend time with me? Like, even my friends didn't want to spend time with me. It was one of those things, so, you know, I felt left behind, so when this 6th grader, you know, expressed interest in me for whatever reason, and honestly, I think the reason was to just impress his friends, you know, what, date an 8th grade chick, you know, I jumped at it because I felt like, oh my god, somebody finally thinks that I'm actually worth more than just, you know, a wallflower. But like I said, he kind of messed up a lot of things for me. Like my first kiss was pretty crappy. We were hanging out in his room, and I think he was playing like some kind of skateboarding game, Tony Hawk, whatever, for the PS thing. And, you know, you were just, like, laying there on his bed or whatever, and you were just like, hey, baby, you should give me a kiss. And it's like, no, I kind of want to wait for the right moment. And he's like, no, come on. I'm like, no, what? No, hang on. You know, because I wanted that, it's like, I'd seen all those movies, and it's like, I'm like, oh, your first kiss is supposed to be magical, you're supposed to have that little leg pop thing, you know, like, it's supposed to be tingly, and fireworks, and just like, and it just didn't. It just wasn't the time. Just, like, laying there feeling sloppy in his bed or whatever. Like, no thank you. But, of course, he kept bugging me until I did it. So, my first kiss was ruined. There was no sparks. There were no fireworks. There was no... Just didn't really feel like anything, honestly. So, yeah, that kind of sucked. And, basically, any sexual activity or any real activity from there was, like... He also was the first person to see and touch my breasts. Of course, 8th grade yeah, look, I am a very small person. They're not impressive, and they definitely weren't impressive back then. So, I don't know. But, it was one of those things where I didn't quite understand what I should be feeling. So, it really didn't feel like anything to me at the time. And of course, you know, you don't expect anybody to be experienced with anything at that age, so, you know, so it's not like to his... Like, it's not like he was some kind of, like wizard or anything with it, so it was just whatever. It just made me uncomfortable. I was just like, I don't know what I should be doing right now. But beyond that, any kind of touch was completely outside of clothing, so no, I did not have sex in 8th grade. Actually, I broke up with him, I guess 3 months after we started dating. So, that ended pretty quickly, I guess. But, then I didn't date again until, no, not 11th grade, wow, 10th grade, sorry. But it was, you know, like, the rest of 8th grade year, all of 9th grade year, and, like, a portion of 10th grade year. So, it was another dry spell. It was one of those things where, again, I was watching everybody around me, you know, like, date these people and have a great time, and, you know, like, oh, he thinks I'm so pretty, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, nobody likes me! Why does nobody like me? But, in 10th grade, I found somebody attractive, and he actually found me attractive back. So that was actually a good situation. It really was. Of course, the relationship didn't end up working out in the end, and he ended up being somebody who had a lot of anger issues, and I'm a gentle soul. I am a gentle little flower. I couldn't handle that for too long, honestly. Although I did handle it for about 3 years. Like 2 years, 2.5 years, almost 3 years? I don't know, man, whatever. Yeah. So, we were actually mutually attracted to each other, which was a nice thing. And we started dating, which was cool. It was cool. It was cool that somebody actually, I guess, actually liked me back and expressed that they liked me back. So I don't know, that was nice. And it kind of started off, or like my first kiss with him was actually very magical. It really was. We were like outside of the school, and it was under this big old tree, and I kind of, I'm gonna be honest, no, well, it's not, okay, whatever, this isn't like an I'm gonna be honest moment, this is just like later on, that tree ended up coming down because there was a tornado that hit my school, and it hit that tree, and it ruined the tree, and they had to cut the tree down because it was gonna fall anyway, and I was like, god damn it, no, it was a kissing tree, what the hell, like, it ruined my first good kiss, but, it was the place of my first good kiss, and now it's gone, whatever, that kind of thing, so that was kind of hilarious, but, oh well, shit happens. Also, excuse my language, but it is one of those things, this is a little bit more of an edgy subject, so I'm gonna feel a little bit looser with my language, even though I do try to not curse so much in my Skillink videos, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, my first kiss with him was really nice, and just everything with him, all those firsts were actually really nice, and like, what was it? He was the first person that I actually saw what a penis looked like, and I'm gonna be honest, it was the most terrifying experience of my life. I did not know what to do with it. I kind of looked at it, I poked it, and I like, I don't know, I touched it a little bit, and then like I pulled his pants back up and kind of like hid under the blankets. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. How do I know? And he didn't pressure me into going back to that, I suppose, until, he never pressured me to it, like, and that was really nice, and that's the way it should be, you know, you should be able to move at your own pace. So if you're with somebody who's like forcing you to move faster than you're comfortable with, that is not a good situation. Please get out, because you don't need that. You really don't. You don't want your first sexual experience to be uncomfortable and bad, and you know, and set you off for a bad trend for the rest of your life, honestly, because your first experience does matter. Granted, it doesn't have to set the trend for your entire sexual experience in your in just your entire life, but I mean, it does set off a mentality, you know, and it takes a while to break a certain mentality, so you do want to have a good first experience as to the best of your ability, I suppose. So please, if anybody's ever pressuring you into things that you don't want to do, just don't, okay? Just tell them that you're not comfortable, and just get out of that situation, especially if they continue to try to force this to happen, okay? So yes, like I said, he was very understanding, and we didn't really mess around too much. It was mostly just outside of clothing, until there was one day where we decided, you know what, this is it. And I think it was about, I can't remember if it was 6 months in or a year and 6 months in. I honestly can't remember. But I do remember that I was 16 at the time. He was 15, because he was a year younger than me. He was in 9th grade and I was in 10th grade. I don't know what it was about me dating younger guys in that age. Ugh. No. But yes. He was a year younger than me. And whatever, yeah, I was 16 when we decided, like, this is gonna happen, I guess. It wasn't necessarily planned. It was one of those things where, like, we had an opportunity to be alone, and we were just like, well, I guess we should try it, you know? And, it wasn't exactly comfortable, and it wasn't exactly magical. In fact, it was really weird. It was kind of not like disturbing or, like, uncomfortable so much. It was just weird. It was on the first floor of my parents' house, so of course that's always a weird situation, you know, first time being in your parents' house, which is, I mean, it's probably gonna happen that way anyway, but, you know, it's weird. It's always gonna be weird. And the weirdest thing is it wasn't, like, in a bed or in a comfortable place so much. It was on an office chair. I'm pretty sure that we have long since thrown that office chair out, not for that reason, but just because it got old and cruddy. Yeah, so I don't think that office chair exists anymore, at least in our household. But yeah, like, we were down there, and it was, like, I think it was, like, just before he was going to go home for the evening, so we really didn't have a lot of time. I guess we were just like, okay, I guess we are trying the thing, and, you know, pulled my pants down, pulled his pants down slightly, and we kind of had this moment where we just stared at each other like, oh god, is this really happening? What do we do? How does it work? Because at that point, I still didn't really know. I still didn't really know. I wasn't sure what to expect, and honestly, I really don't know if anybody knows what to expect at first. I don't think anybody knows what it should be like. He did, what is it? It was, you know, like, he got closer, whatever, and this is what makes it weird, I guess, mostly for me, and this is what makes it kind of funny to talk about later, because, like, you know, he looked at me dead in the eyes and whispers, "I love you," before, you know, like, pushing inside of me, I suppose, and it was just, like, the weirdest thing. It's, like, one of those things, like where somebody's like, "I love you," like, right before they murder you. It just sounded really, really weird, and to this day, I think it's freaking hilarious. I know he didn't intend it like that. He meant for it to be comforting, but for me, who, I don't know, has either watched too many movies or, like, has a way of making good things seem bad and bad things seem good, it just turned out really weird for me. I was like, okay, wait, what? But my first sexual experience, I guess, was that I was in an office chair, down on the first floor, in the dark, right before he had to go home, and nothing really much happened. It didn't really feel like much. I'm gonna put that there. It really didn't feel like much. I guess it's fair to say that he wasn't exactly well endowed, but that's not. I mean, come on. He was 15, so, like, it's not fair to say, like, that there was anything wrong with that necessarily. And especially for a first time, I think it was actually nice that he wasn't, because then it didn't hurt. It didn't feel like anything. It did not, like, you know, people say, like, oh, when the first time that a girl has sex, you know, it pops her cherry. First of all, that is a very incorrect statement to say. It is not popping anything. There is a film that is supposed to be kind of, like, moved out of the way, I suppose. And lucky for me, this thing did not tear. Because if your first sexual experience is, like, you know, rushes too much, or, like, you know, it's just, you're really supposed to ease a girl into it for the first time. You're really not supposed to just, like, go in there like you're gonna freaking, like hack down this forest and chop down this tree and be like, okay, there you go, girl, it's great, good, yeah. You know, you really need to be gentle. Ladies, please ask him to be gentle so that you don't experience pain for the first time, and you don't, you know, like, set that off as a bad trend, because it really isn't a good experience to have it be painful the first time. Of course, I didn't experience it, but I have talked to women whose first time was very painful, and it isn't a good thing. It doesn't make you want to start again. It doesn't make you want to pick that back up again, even though the guy was like, oh, it was so great. You know, you're sitting there like, that hurt like a bitch. You know, you don't want that. You really don't. So please, guys, even if you want to go gung-ho right away, if you actually care about this lady, and you should, okay, even if this isn't somebody that you want to be with for the rest of your life, even if this is just a fling or whatever, you should actually care about her well-being, at the very least, please. Don't be rough with her. Do not go in there like you're gonna, I don't know, like, claim some uncharted land. Please be tender and gentle. Because yes, my first experience didn't really feel like anything, but that is perfectly fine. I am perfectly fine with it not feeling like anything at all. Because it did give me time to ease into it, so that I never did have to go through the excruciating pain of having that film, you know, down there be torn, because it's not supposed to be torn. It really isn't. It's supposed to be stretched. It is supposed to be stretched, not torn. So, yes, like I was saying, it didn't really feel like anything, and you can just shut the door. And it, like I said, we didn't really have a lot of time. It just kind of was like I guess, in and out for like 1, 2, 3, and out, and just done. And we kind of like stood there and stared at each other like, okay, is that okay? And we didn't really like go any further from there. We were too nervous to, I guess, like really continue for our first time, especially since we were on a time crunch. But I don't know, I guess that wasn't such a bad thing. It really probably wasn't such a bad thing, like I said. It at least gave me time to ease into it and ease into the thought of it happening. And same for him, because we were each other's first. So that was a big deal, I guess. It was a big deal that we were able to have this happen, but not like feel obligated to finish what we started, I suppose. So your first sexual experience does not have to be some kind of fireball, like, just beautiful, wonderful, amazing thing. Sometimes it being simple is what's beautiful. Sometimes it being, like completely just almost non-existent, almost like you don't feel anything at all, that can still be beautiful, because it is important to not rush into these things, to not force yourself to do it just because, oh, everybody else around me is doing it. Because you know what? I didn't feel that pressure. Because like I said, it was quite some time into our relationship before we did it for the first time. I never felt any pressure, I was lucky at that point that I had moved away from some of the bad people that were in my life, some of the bad friends that I had in my life, so nobody was ever pressuring me like, oh, did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? What is it like? Did you do it yet? So there really should be no pressure. There should be no peer pressure, because, it's not up to society, it is not up to your friends, it is not up to the people around you to decide when you have sex for the first time. It is not. It is your choice and your partner's choice. So, you should never do it just because, oh, well, I'm a 16-year-old boy, and all the other 16-year-old boys around me have done it, and shit, some of the 14-year-old boys around me have done it. No, it is not it's not like it's your societal duty to have sex, it is when you are comfortable with it, when you think you're mature enough to deal with it. Because one of the biggest things that we discussed, actually, me and this ex of mine, we did discuss, we weren't gonna do it if we thought that we would regret it. And that is such a big deal. That is such a big deal. If you think, if you're laying in bed there and you think, wow, I don't know if I'm gonna be happy about this decision later, then stop. Do not let that be your first experience. Do not let regret be your first experience, because that is not cool, and you do not want that. You want to feel because even though the relationship didn't work out, even though eventually it turned out that he had too many, emotional problems that I obviously couldn't fix, and I had emotional problems that he couldn't fix, even though the relationship itself did not work out, I'm not unhappy with that first experience. I'm really not. In fact, there are other people that I experienced, later down the line, I suppose, that thinking back, they would have been really bad first partners. They really would have been. And so I am glad that I was able to have at least a mildly decent first experience. One that, it did feel safe. It did feel like this guy actually cares about me, because we did care about each other. We really did. I will never deny that I actually did like the kid, So that's what you want for your first time. For those of you out there who haven't had sex yet, and maybe you're thinking about it, please, just be smart about it, Just be smart about, it's just like I said, it is your choice when you have it. It is your partner's choice when they have it. And, just please be gentle. Be gentle for your first time, or ask your partner to be gentle for your first time. And, don't feel rushed, don't feel pressured, because it's not a race. It is not a race to see who can have sex first. It is not a race to see who can, I guess, orgasm first, It is supposed to be a beautiful union between two people. It is supposed to be, an expression of just how much you truly care about somebody. And obviously, I know one-night stands exist, and I've had one or two, I think, 2 one-night stands that I just didn't care about the other person. And you know what? Those might be ones that I do regret. And I guess that's what it is, you know, like, it's just, if when you don't really care about the person, you do have a higher chance of actually regretting that event, and that feels kind of bad. It really does. It really does feel kind of bad to regret that. Because like I said, it is supposed to be a wonderful thing. It is supposed to be, like, maybe not wonderful in the fact that, like, oh, this is the best feeling I've ever had in my life, as much as it's, like, there is no time, I guess, when you can be physically closer to another person. That is as physically close as you can get without opening somebody's body up and literally crawling inside their skin. Like, that is as close as physically you can get, and hopefully you are close emotionally and mentally as well. And obviously, like sex isn't exactly the end-all be-all. It really isn't. And that is not, and while I say that it is the closest you'll ever get with somebody physically, it is not the closest that you'll ever get with somebody, like, emotionally or mentally. I do believe that there are more intimate things that two humans can do together. You know, sitting underneath the night sky and discussing dreams and aspirations, that is deep. That is very close. That is something that you don't do with just anybody, you know? And it doesn't even have to be with a lover. It could be with a best friend, and you can feel so emotionally and mentally close with them. And, or, you know, like, it's just, I don't feel like sex should be this big, like, put on this huge pedestal, like, this is the most important thing you'll ever do in your life, because it's not. It isn't. It's a wonderful thing, and it can be a very wonderful thing, but it can also be a very awful thing. Which is why I do say that you have to be careful with it. You do have to be careful when you've decided, I am ready to face the consequences of this. And I'm not meaning like pregnancy consequences or STD consequences. I mean, because hopefully you're wearing a condom. But what I'm meaning is emotional consequences and mental consequences. You know, of like, are you going to regret this later? Are you going to feel bad about it later? Are you going to wish later you had waited for the right one? You know, like, I don't know. It's just, it is important to be not so much choosy as much as just, you know, just be mindful that if you are the type of person that does want to wait until you've met the right one, then please, by all means, do that. You know what? I wasn't. Or maybe I was, I guess, because I did think that he was the one, but when you're 16, you don't know things. You don't... Not to say that you 16-year-olds don't know things, but I definitely didn't know better, okay? Every relationship I was in, I thought was the one, okay? Except for, like, maybe, like, one or two of them where I was like, nah, this probably isn't it. But, yeah, so if you are one that wants to wait for that special someone, then by all means do that. But at the same time, I will say that I don't regret not waiting for the one, I suppose. The one being Pedro, hopefully. Right, baby? Okay, thanks for your contribution. I don't regret not waiting. Because and this is going to sound a little crass, this is going to sound a little, I don't know, abrasive, I suppose. But I am under the impression that it is not a bad thing to try before you buy. I think that if I had waited till marriage, it would have been, I don't know, just not a good thing. Like, because even for a first time, even for, you know, because you really do hope that your first time is the best thing ever, but it's not going to be. It probably will not be unless you just really do end up with somebody who just matches your body right. And obviously it's going to be unexperienced if you guys are, you know, doing it for the first time, but yeah, I don't think it's a problem to test the waters and see what you like and see what kind of person you like, you know, both mentally, emotionally, physically, and sexually. You know, there is so many different facets to a relationship. There are so many different sides of it that are important, and sex is one of them if you are going to be sexually active. And most people in relationships are. And of course there are platonic relationships where they just do care about each other but don't want to, like, engage in that, which is fine. That is perfectly fine. There's no pressure, honestly. But for me, even though I really did want to wait for the one originally, I wanted to wait till marriage originally, I don't regret not. I guess I really don't regret not doing that, because I don't know, I guess like I said, I do think that it has been helpful for me to discover what I do like in a person in all aspects of them. In every single possible way, what I do and don't like about people. And I don't know. That is something that I'm never going to regret. I'm never going to regret, not waiting. I'm never going to regret trying new things. And you don't have to share that mentality. You really don't. But if you have been curious, I guess, or if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I've had sex with 3 people, I'm a slut, I'm a whore, I'm whatever, you are not. You get that shit out of your head right the heck now, because you are not, okay? You are really, really not. Literally, unless you are actually doing it for money, you are not a whore, okay? Trust me. And I've been called a whore by my own mother. Okay? So, please, do not ever, ever, ever think that about yourself. I want you to stop right now if that's what you're thinking about yourself. Male or female, stop. Because you are a beautiful creature, and human beings are sexual creatures. It is in our nature. So please don't ever feel like it is a bad thing, okay? It is not supposed to be a bad thing. It is, and honestly, the problem is that society works it up to be this, it works it up to be either the greatest thing ever or the worst thing ever. It tells you that if you're a woman, that, like, you're supposed to wait till marriage, or you're supposed to wait for the one, and it's supposed to be the best thing ever. But if you're a woman and you experiment, and you like happen to have more than 1 or 2 or 3 partners, that all of a sudden it's the worst thing ever, and how could you, and you're disgusting and dirty. They're wrong. They are absolutely wrong. And it goes for men too. It tells men that, having sex with 1 and 2 and 3 and 5 and 10 and 20 people is the best thing ever. How could you not do that? It's like, that is the most important thing. You're supposed to spread your seed as far as possible, have sex with ladies all across the land. They're wrong. If you want to wait, that is your right. That is your absolute right. And if you don't want to wait, that's fine too. It is not the best thing ever to have sex with multiple people, and it's not the worst thing ever. It's kind of just in the middle, and society telling men that if they don't have sex with multiple partners and stuff is like, oh, how could you? You're not attractive enough. You're not this enough. You should get a penis enlargement. You should get, you should work out. You should do this. You should do that. They're wrong. That is so incorrect. It really is. It is not one extreme or the other. It is not black or white. It's in a gray area. It really is. It is not 100% perfect. It is not 100% amazing. It is not 100% crappy. It is not 100% the worst thing ever. So, seriously, for those of you who have never had sex, for those of you who have, just know that your choices are that's what they are. They're your choices, and society can't tell you that you're wrong for them. It really can't. I mean, unless you're raping somebody, in which case you are wrong, and you should probably go turn yourself in because you're awful. But that's beside the point. That's not a discussion that I'm having right now. I'm having a discussion on consensual sex. Anyway, sorry, that was weird. But yeah, you are not incorrect for wanting to do things at your own pace, and whether your pace is a really quick pace or a really slow pace, you are not incorrect, and that is your right. It is your body, it is your person, it is your, it's your mind, it's your everything, and you have a right to do with it what you will, I suppose. So, this discussion has been going on quite long enough, and I hope that this was able to, I guess, shed some light on things for those of you who have been curious, I guess. I hope it didn't make anybody super uncomfortable. But if it did, I'm sorry. Oh well, I guess you should have clicked off the video anyway, but you made it this far, so I guess it didn't make you so uncomfortable that you wanted to leave. In the comment section below, shit, I can't think of a good question for this. I don't want to ask you guys if you've, done it before. That's a weird question to ask. I mean, you can tell me if you want, I guess, but that's not really, a thing. I guess in the comment section below. Tell me... I don't know. Tell me, I don't know, tell me what your views on sex are, I suppose. Like, do you think that, you know, it is this perfect union between man and woman? Do you think that, or, you know, it doesn't have to be man and woman, it could be woman and woman, it could be man and man, whatever. You know, what are your views on it? Do you think that it's, you know, up until now, have you thought that it's like this, like, amazing thing? Have you thought that it's this awful thing? Are you afraid of it? Because I was scared. I was scared, and a lot of people are. And it's not wrong to be scared. It's not wrong to be scared of things that you've never experienced before, or even if you have experienced them. Like, it's not wrong. Like people are afraid of the dark, even though they've been in the dark before. You know. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts on it are. If you have not already, please leave a like. I appreciate it. You guys know I do. And you guys are always very good about that, and I can't thank you enough for that, honestly. If this is your first time watching a video of mine, well, thank you, congratulations, you're a real trooper for making it through all of that, because these are usually not 40 minutes long. These are usually not 40 minutes long, and, I don't know, hopefully you like what the rest of this channel has to offer. I talk about things a lot, maybe not to this extent, but I do talk about things, have Pokemon stuff, I don't know, whatever. Please subscribe, I would appreciate it. And, I'll see you guys next time on something else. Probably Omega Ruby tomorrow. I don't know. Bye!